All right, looks like we're live. Just making sure this thing turns on. Okay, welcome. I was actually thinking about not doing this today, but I don't know. I have a to do list and this is on there, so I'm doing it. I guess that's part of the reason I do to do lists because sometimes there are things I don't feel like doing, but I must do. That's why it's very easy to just fall out of your passions um, because at times, like depending on how big your passions are, they could feel like work. And today's kind of a very special stream because I went through a whole lot last week. Some of it I should not have had to have gone through. Um, but I'm surviving, and lots of changes in my life. Since these streams are for more of personal, I guess I'll talk to my future self. So if I ever look back on this is the stream where you shut down your business, moved on to a different career. And yeah, it's hard. It's kind of ironic, huh? Like doing private music lessons actually hurts you as a musician. So weird. It's so weird how that's a reality. Like you can be you want to prove everyone wrong. Everyone says you can't make money with music. And you're like, watch me. And then you do it. But then you're like, okay, I'm teaching music, I'm doing music, I'm making money with music. That means I'm a success, right? And when you really look at it, it's like, okay, there's a lot of problems with music education. There's a lot of issues that I wish weren't there, I guess, because I'm an empath. I've spent my whole life people telling me like I'm not empathetic, but I learned the hard way that I am an empath. And because of that, like running my own business was very difficult because there's a lot of things you kind of have to give up of yourself when you do when you do something like music education and going to the rich neighborhoods and putting your flyers, and you're like, well, I'm not teaching the people who really need music, and the people who really need music can't afford it. And you start realizing, oh, this is a luxury, at least in society. So, I shut it down because it didn't align with me morally, whereas my new path does align with who I am morally. Um, and plus, I'm hoping like by me shedding myself of the past, um, the dream will benefit, because now this is all I'm doing musically, which is good. So it's 100% now, where maybe as before it wasn't quite, because I can count on my finger. I know tons of music educators, but I can count on my hand like how many actually make music and participate in creating music, even though that's the goal of music education. It's not many people who do it. And the people who do it don't really rely on music theory and all that stuff that we're told to worship. Um, but that is my little rant. So yeah, I'd say looking back, this will be an important stream, which is why I'm doing it. And that's not everything. That's kind of the bulk of what I've gone through throughout the week. I haven't really mastered mix. Yesterday I wrote probably the best song I ever written in my life. I sat at the keyboard, put all my stresses into one song. It was another attempt, fifth attempt at the Promise of Paradise, and I got it like for sure. Like that's it. That's the song. And I think I had to go through all this stuff to be able to find that song, because I was trying to write it, trying to make it work, and it just wasn't working. And it was because I needed another life event. sometimes that's just how music goes, especially when you're not writing for attention. When you're writing for personal, everything's personal. With this now, with my art, it's all personal. None of it is tainted with anything. I don't get to do that. And I am glad that it's not tainted, because I think so much music out there is just trying to compete with all the attention grabbers, and it's hard. I think I had a conversation with Pointless Waste of Time. He's another YouTuber who just makes music. It's completely pure. I was listening to just a bunch of his songs, actually. They have like this theme of just like garbage or trash, or like that's the song titles, and this whole theme of music going on. And I'd advise anyone to go listen to music like that, because it's pure. It's not diluted with different ideas, I guess, like that people have, as far as like marketing could dilute your art. Music theory itself can dilute your art if you focus on it too much. And that's where I am at right now. We're trying to balance everything, and I'm like, okay, so my music's kind of a mix of all different composition styles. But that's been me. That's been this last week. This brings me to this, and this is where music creation gets a little scary for me, because, like I mentioned before, and I've heard, I wish I remember what interview. Oh, it was Sakamoto's documentary. Ryuichi Sakamoto, before he passed away, he had this documentary I never even heard of. I saw it on the plane, and I watched it, and I watched his concert, and he was talking about how music is just like a cloud that we kind of pull from, and when we hit things, we play around with the keyboard, and it's like, oh, that's what I heard in my head. And this song is completely that. It was like, what is it? I had no idea what it meant. It was like right before I left out of the country, I just went to the keyboard, hit record, and I was accidentally hitting things, and for some reason it just all made sense. And the number 24 was just in my head the whole time. And as I was writing it, I had no idea, like, why am I making this? Why is the video this way? I knew it was Channel 1, which projects for Channel 1 have not come to me at all. It doesn't even have like a banner or advertisement. I didn't even know what to do with Channel 1. I was going to just give it to Chris and say, hey, come up with stuff for this little series, but he didn't want to. He wanted to do his own thing. Like, okay, that's fine. So this came to my head, and it's a very ambient track, and this number 24 followed me out of the country. We went to this weird hotel in Singapore. The number 24, that was the floor we were on, and the number was just there. And then July 24th came, and it was the longest day of my life, really, because I was in like 3 different countries. So July 24th happened like twice for me. So it was a really long day going from plane to plane, and I don't go on planes, and I was by myself. I was alone. I was kind of scared, if I miss a flight, everything bad can go wrong, because everything was so close to my onboarding for my new job. Everything was so close, and so yeah, it was a very stressful day for me, and I wish it didn't have to go down that way, but I think, like, at the time I made this song, I kind of foreshadowed, like, this is gonna be tough for you. So, and yeah, I made the video in a day. I recorded the song, made the video. It's a very simple video, but it was foreshadowing, like, stress, like my past self preparing my future self, because unfortunately sometimes we're islands of people, and we have to give ourselves encouragement sometimes when nobody else does. And when no one else can see our perspective, we have to be our best friend. We have to be our best friend. And me talking right now, the words are really aimed towards my future self. Like, just remember that. Like, you're lucky if you have people around to help you, and if you do, like, really take advantage of that. But man, on those days when you're alone, like, you're not alone. You have yourself. Me, myself, and I. Right? That's what we all say. But check this one out. Um, it's pretty interesting. I think channel 1 is going to be very experimental. I'm actually working on another video for channel 1, which is the same. It's just the name of a series. But it's going to have just stuff you don't see. Like, sometimes I write music, I don't stream it. But I do record like rough drafts of what I hear, so you'll see more of that. It'll kind of be like home video style, just through the lens of myself, and maybe the others if they want to make home video style content. You'll see us rehearse a lot in here, because I think streaming the rehearsal was pretty tough, and I think when we hit that record button, it wasn't entirely our true rehearsal. But yeah. Some other advertisements here I'll go through quickly so I can get started on this, because Dreamcrack Chapter 1 is almost done. This is our latest song as a band, Dissociate. This song kind of speaks to me recently too. Just making yourself an island and fighting against that. It's hard. It's hard to fight against that. So if you're alone, it's very hard to get out of that. And like this whole week I've been alone here, and it's been scary. It's been scary. But yeah, you know what? Sometimes that's the name of the game, and you just get through it. This is our latest album. It's on Spotify, YouTube, it's everywhere. If you're wondering how I do that, I think I'd like to live stream that someday, but we use DistroKid, and we self-promote. That's what we do. There's advertising people out there. You got to be careful with who you pick, man. And then like the good ones get corrupted, and like sometimes it's best just to be your own independent label. Like a lot of even big name artists use DistroKid, like the ones who are already established a name. It's because, man, so many people just try to get you, and like maybe you'll succeed, and if you do, I'll have a stake in you, and I take most of your money. Like that's how music industry is. It's poison. So yeah, be your own person. I still, even though it hasn't happened for me personally, I still believe that a song, a very special song, without any of the strings being pulled, can still cut through. Now, of course, most of the songs you hear, like, they have connections, they have all this stuff, based in California. They know who they're working with, their parents were in the industry. You're going to hear a lot of those people's songs, but I just have the hope. And I guess that's why I called the new album Dream Crack, because it's kind of like I'm trying to crack it, like just crack what I am as a musician, crack what humanity needs to listen to, crack what I need to listen to, crack what I need to say. That's what Dream Crack is all about, and that's the album I'm going to work on today. A Melancholy Dream. I think this was my vision quest, honestly. This album was, I needed to go through it. I needed to challenge myself, who I was as a musician, who I was as a content creator, what's my next step, because musicians are lost, honestly. Like in life, when we grow up, we're lost. Everyone's conception of a musician is completely distorted in a way. We see these movies that like talk about someone coming from nothing, somebody discovers them, and then boom, everything takes off. And I think that's still possible too, but I also think like just especially in this day and age when you can self-publish, like you can cut through without any magic. But you gotta write the right song. You gotta have the right purpose. And right now, I think the biggest challenge for me as a song maker is that like changing the perspective. You know, when people listen to Phoenix Splash, it's like, well, that was a good keyboard part. I'm like, thank you, but did you hear what I was saying? I put the lyrics there all the time because that's the I feel like that's the missing ingredient with Phoenix Splash. And I think with A Melancholy Dream, it slowly like started to form messages like with lyrics. Not only was it uh instrumentally impressive because that's what music school teaches you to do, just to be the perfect musician so that other people can use you. They want you to be a drone basically. But they don't teach you the meaning, like what are you doing, why are you doing it, and what does your song mean, what is its name, what is what's its identity. And there's a reason music went away from naming things like Sonata 1. Like no one names their songs sonata or rondo or just the form of it. Like heavy metal song number 28. Like nobody, every song has meaning now. And in music school, they teach the opposite. They're like, no, this is the real music. Rondo 1, sonata, like no meaning, no nothing. And I'm getting away from that, and it's slow. And I think perspective, especially when I talk about like, oh yeah, I went to music school. Everyone puts me in that category. Like, okay, you have to be like proficient. You have to be all this, and at first, man, that's what I was thinking too. But that's changed, and this was the album to do it. Specifically, the song "Sad" and the song "Magic Powers in Paradise." I think those two songs really changed my art, and I believe White Eyes changed Chris's art too. Because White Eyes is a really good song on this album as well. So Sad, Magic Powers in Paradise, and White Eyes, I think, are my three picks. If you're going to listen to any song on this album, listen to those three. And especially Magic Powers in Paradise, that kept coming on in my shuffle. And our music never comes on in my shuffle. Like, it's always less whatever else I have. But I'm like, why is our music coming on? That doesn't make sense. So Magic Powers in Paradise was definitely a song I needed to hear this whole week, and I kept listening to it, even though it's my own. I've never had a song that I wrote speak to me, which is weird, because it's me, you know? And I'm like, okay, it's Magic Powers in Paradise. I really needed to hear that, which led to me writing the next song of Promise, which is Promise of Paradise. They're all kind of related, so yeah, take a listen to this album. You will hear a journey that we went on, and of course it's all cryptic and stuff. It's really deep, everything, because my mind moves at 20,000 miles per minute, and that's not a brag. I don't like it sometimes. This is something Chris worked on his own, Trance of Insanity. Lots of experiments on this as well. Some old songs from the Forbidden album, if anyone knows what that is. There is some songs on there that are in here that he redid, that he sang himself. And there's like some Beats of Rage footage as well, which is kind of cool. And there's his demon, Insanity, which is right here. This is the oldest demon on the YouTube channel. I'm thinking of calling them monsters now because demons is kind of scary. But this is, if you watch our old video Crossface, that was the first time I had a concept of a demon, because I truly believe that humans are inherently good and that we just get corrupted. Like if you ever work with children, like man, they're so pure. And then like when they, as time progresses, we get corrupted just by our own inner demons, outside forces, outside experiences. I'm going to go off on rails today. This is why it's an important stream. I don't have much to do. It's very tedious, so if you like me talking philosophy, You're gonna hear it. If you don't, then I'm sorry, but this is I'm always gonna bring this up, always, because repetition. I'm designing my own music curriculum, man, because the Kodali method. I'm sorry, it's wrong. It's wrong. But this is what I'm developing right now. I'm waiting till I get more like experience in teaching and education because even though I've been private teaching for a long time, music education is just different, you know? It doesn't it treats music as a luxury. And I think that's something my old professor told me too. He's like, "Josh, you're a great musician, but you weren't born into this, and you're gonna hit that block." And now I see it now. He knew. He knew. He's like, I come from rich, we all the top professors, they all had families of music. They all had all these connections and just that culture, and I was not brought into it. I grew up idolizing musicians like Led Zeppelin and stuff I heard. I did like classical as well, but it was more like in bands and other even composers like Sakamoto, Ryuichi Sakamoto. Like those are the people I idolized, and they weren't part of that. But anyway, this is what I've been working on as kind of like a layout to how I produce music, because the goal of the Kodali method is to get people to produce music, to make music. That's not what happens, but that's the goal. So Kodali, if you're watching from 1930, let me show you how it's done, because this is how it is. You start with inspiration. You start doing rough drafts. So you start interpreting what you hear. If sometimes I just start at rough draft, but if nothing's working, I watch movies, I listen to music, I read books. Not just listening to music, but just experiencing other art, experiencing art itself, going to a museum. All of that is this first stage, inspiration. And maybe I should make this box bigger because I'm starting to realize like inspiration is huge. And that also means personal experiences. Use them. Use everything that happens to you. Don't make your music identity another identity. Like make it your own. And through Melancholy Dream, I started seeing that like I need to use who I am, and who I am is not fully developed yet, because there's just been so much poison in my head. And it'll show your journey. So get inspired, then make a rough draft. Composition, that doesn't mean just standard notation. Sometimes I do that here. It's a useful tool, but it's a tool. It's not gospel. This is something the Kodali method doesn't understand. Kodali method believes that if somebody can write music and read music, they can make music. That's completely wrong, Kodali. There's plenty of musicians who don't know how to write standard notation. What I'm presenting here, composition, is more just organization, and I might even change the name because man, I've been going through this journey. Organize your thoughts. Oh yeah, I think I have it here. So the best song I've composed like a 17-minute string quartet, hand notated music because I thought that was the path. I wrote for violin and I composed everything, and of course never got played because you can never find people who will play your crazy music unless you make it simple. But yeah, I thought that was my best song for a long time until I realized, no, that's actually your worst song. That's everything wrong with the system. So I think this is my best song now. It's just lyrics, it's chord progressions and the headings, and this is kind of leans more towards lead sheet. Let me make myself bigger. I don't think that's visible, but you kind of get the idea. It's just a page, really, kind of 2 pages. Since I'm working with other musicians, I'm letting them like okay, at 3 minutes we'll jam. We'll do like a jam spot. And honestly, I think that's something maybe I'll go in more into that style of composition, because the more I think about it, it's very closely related to pro wrestling or dancing. Like, I keep calling them demons. I haven't heard y'all from a while. Yeah, keep calling them demons, man. Oh, keep calling. Oh, okay. So you recommend demons? Okay. If I ever make a children's book, though, like, I'll change it to monsters, because I think that's more kid friendly. But as for the YouTube channel, I think I should call them demons, because it's serious stuff. And honestly, since I'm gonna talk a lot today, I might as well say this. I have a theory that, um, because I don't ever look down on the ancestors. When I started going over Native American religion, I started realizing how important, how prestige the ancestors were to their culture. Whereas, like, American culture, we see caveman, he's like, duh, duh. Like, they make fun of the people who lived before us without realizing those people had the same brains. And we also need to realize that things in our minds get misconstrued, ideas get misconstrued. And honestly, I think demons exist. And I think psychology kind of agrees with that too, because we do call them inner demons. And while I don't believe they have a face, or maybe there's things we just don't understand about them yet, because we kind of separate religion from fact, religion from science. But I think if you treat religion as philosophy and then learn about it, you can get something out of it, even if you're not like a religious person. But anyway, that's the I totally sidetracked there. Composition, organization, practice what you write, because you want to make it as good as it can get. You owe it to the cloud of sounds in your head to make it as good as you can. Record it, produce it. This is what we're going to be doing today, a lot of production, and then release it, which is, I really hope to capture that one day. I know when we do, like, I think 6 or 5 Endless Journal songs, there will be like a little album like release or EP release. So maybe that'll be the one I stream. But yeah, this is the way. This is the way. And I'm sorry if you really like Kodali Method. I don't mean any disrespect. I think like what he did worked in the past and worked with what he knew. He didn't know everything. Like, nobody does. But things are supposed to get better. And when I look at all areas of education, it progresses. Like, when I study how to teach ELA, like, that has developed over time, whereas music is just kind of stuck. And yes, certain things have developed, but not all that much. At least where I live. I'm hopefully, maybe it's different in other countries. That's probably something I should read about, how other countries study music. But I assume they all get sucked into this idea that Germany made, and kind of live up. Like, even the Suzuki method I was reading about, I'm like, this is like very disciplined, but it works. It makes you a proficient musician, but that's the goal, is to make you a proficient musician, not to make you a composer, or not to make you like truly understand what music is, but to make you a tool that can be used by somebody when the time comes, so that you can work in an orchestra. That's, yikes, honestly, yikes. That's the music world we live in. Music is so old, and that's what we do with it. That's embarrassing. Anyway, this last ad, I like these. I'm starting to use these more in videos. This is the Endless Journal project. You can think of all these little projects as little games, because once upon a time I did have a huge passion for game development. This is what I'm doing with that passion. Whenever I made an indie game, it got like 4 downloads, and so much work goes into it. You gotta program, you gotta event, you gotta do all this, and then it's like 4 downloads. It's like releasing an indie song. And then the person has to download it. You hope it doesn't have glitches. You hope it works well on their computer, especially if you're making a PC game. You hope it doesn't You know, if they have this model PC, you hope it works for this model PC, and so on and so forth. Whereas this, I don't have to worry about that. It's more accessible. More people experience it. The main thing is, I think nobody, maybe like one or a few people have grasped what these are. Because, you know, you watch a YouTube video, you think it's a YouTube video, and that's totally okay. So I have to make more of an effort in my art to let the viewer know during the video, like, hey, there's all this stuff here. There's things you can collect. There's different paths you can go on. It's a giant web, and it has a giant message that is going to slowly be more scaffolded and more presented to my audience, to our audience. I gotta stop saying my. To our audience, all while sharing the passion of music. Because at the root of everything is that, the passion. Just be passionate, man. Be passionate about life. I think that's a line from my new song. But yeah, this is one of those projects, and this is something I'm passionate about. And even though it might not get a whole bunch of views right away, I feel like if someone really, really, like, I guess someone who really goes in depth on things, if they discover this, you know, it'll be magical for that person. And I've seen it happen to a few people. Like, they're like, where am I? Like, they commented on one of the unlisted videos, like, what is this? Where am I? Whoa. Like, it's a beautiful thing. So click on those end tags, man. I don't use them like anyone else. They don't use them like me. But if this catches on, everyone will be using it. Everyone will be using it like that, and I will think that's beautiful. You know, I won't be like, that's my idea. I'll be like, yes, that's my goal, because that means we're connected. You know. All right. With that said, so that's a lot because I'm going through a lot, and that's why I need to have this stream. You know, sometimes I'm like, I stay in my little box, and I don't want anyone to see me. I still have the lights turned off. That's because I just like this setting. But sometimes, man, I have to do things I don't want to do. I think that's the big thing. I have to do things I know that are right for me, and I have to, man. I have to. Anywho, so I've heard these songs a lot, and I know exactly what to do with them. This is Dream. And we're going to take a listen. We're going to master it. Volume's going to be kind of crazy today. Yeah, volume's going to be crazy today. So I'll do my best to let you all know, like, the volume differences. Maybe I could change them on here too. So when I mix, the volume has to be really high because what I'm mixing is pretty soft. When I master, I have to turn it down because what I master is going to be pretty loud. So that's why I'm guessing people don't stream that. it's a logistical nightmare to stream. But that's why I have to do it, because nobody streams this kind of thing. And I think some do. I have to watch them more, maybe get some ideas. But man, it's hard to find those people. Alright, so this is Dream. This is the very first track on Dream Crack. That rhymed. And what these 4 songs represent is chapter 1, because Dream Crack, whereas Melancholy Dream was kind of designed as a video game, like, obviously, the character, who's me, presses play on the Dreamcast, and the album begins, and it's interactive, so it's strictly a video game. This album is, you're looking into a fire, and it's actually similar to, like, a storybook, I would say. So it's a vision. Maybe this is another vision quest. Maybe every album is a vision quest in some way. But it all tells a story, and it starts with Dream. And the dream is really the mission statement. Unite and understand. And what that means further, I will discover when I write the last chapter of the album, which I'm probably going to start working on soon. Alright, so everything mixing wise sounded good. There was just like a crash cymbal that was too loud, and it was when the chanting started. So we're just gonna listen to it, and then I'll get to that crash cymbal. And at this stage, so this is mastering what I'm doing right now. This is not necessarily mixing, because what I master here, you might think, well, the crash sounds too quiet now. But what happens is that the mastering brings that crash out. It could be hitting a certain frequency that the other crashes aren't hitting. But the mastering techniques that we use will bring that sound out. So this is mastering. That's what we're doing right here. It's not mixing, it's mastering. And mastering, I'm still learning, still trying to get better, as everyone should be. So if there's better ways, let me know. Alright, so as I said, it's pretty quiet. So I turn it up. Oh yeah, he has that delay on him. He has that delay on him. Okay, so it didn't sound that crash, right? Or it didn't sound that loud. That crash did not sound that loud, but it is in the mastering. So that's what I have to do, and it looks like this is the mic that the crash is closest to. So I'm gonna bring this down here, and also the second crash is too loud. I made a note of that. Because like all last week I was listening to these songs. I wanted to send them to the other bandmates, but I had like no internet where I went. So it looks like this second one is brought down a little bit, but I'm going to bring it down more. And I'm still getting used to Reaper, man. Okay, so I'm trying to make this bigger. Boom, there we go. Still getting used to new things. Like, that's one of the hard thing to balance. Like, once you master a DAW, you want to keep using it forever. But then, like, you make that decision, oh, I have to change because in the long run, this DAW will work. But you have to admit to yourself, like, you're going to be a beginner again. And that sucks. It does. Being a beginner is awful, but I'm starting to appreciate the feeling more. Again, because I'm a beginner again. Starting a new career, you're a beginner, you know. Switching from your old career, you were kind of an expert. It's okay. They sound they sound so beautiful here, but I know the mastering will really destroy these. So let me okay. Oh, he stopped. Nice. Okay, so that's a way to cut him off. I just click away. So I'm like, he just keeps going and keeps going. But yeah, that's the delay effect that's on that chanter. Something else, his bass is too loud here because he's like kind of pulling it. It's like when they heard the chanter, they got really excited. But even if I bring it down, you'll still hear the intensity in their strike. That's called technique. That's something the AIs and the samplings kind of haven't mastered yet. Maybe. I haven't been up to date with sampled music. Yeah, this thing. So see, he calms down here. So what we want is just to make this part a little quieter because the mastering's really picking up that. I don't know if he's what he's doing there. Is pull off or it's really pulling off or it's really bringing out that just this note here. So I'm just gonna bring this down a bit. He's still chanting. So all this part here, this is what this is a good thing, and this is why I don't tell them, hey, like try to play at one level the whole time because the mixing mastering. No, I want to capture the technique of them getting louder because even if I bring the volume down, the technique will tell you as a listener the volume's louder here without peaking the mic. It's a bizarre thing. It's something I kind of realized in marimba of all things. Like you can trick your own ear even as you listen, like just based off your technique. You know, like I can make a whole song, like you can think it's like really loud, but the window is like this. Like you can do things like that, and that's kind of what. Unfortunately, mics like it's not they don't capture that perfectly. So that's why you have to do this kind of thing. Um, Mics and I guess the way audio engineering kind of evolved is like they want everything at one volume, which is why a lot of people are very comfortable using samples because that's the way audio engineering evolved. You don't have to do any of this, and you can make your song even louder. Like it's very difficult for me to bring this song as loud as like a Drake song or any Bad Bunny, especially. Bad Bunny is probably like one of the louder musicians I've ever heard. And there's this whole thing called the loudness wars. If you want to make great music, just don't follow that because I've seen it when people I think Snoop Dogg doesn't play that game. So like they were listening to the radio, the song was playing, it was super loud. And then Snoop Dogg came after, and it was much quieter. You know what the audience did? The listener went up to the volume, just turned it up. And when the next song came, turned it down. Like, when you think of it like that, loudness perspective is not very smart to have. So I make these as loud as I can, but I don't sacrifice too much. Like, my aim is to make this as loud as Dissociate, maybe a little quieter because I think Dissociate, I sacrificed some things for its loudness. But you want to find that balance, you know. If someone puts you on and turns you down to make you background music, that's just gonna happen. Like, no matter how loud you make your track. Yeah, and there's this other school of thought, like if you use really bright sounds, bright instruments, then if your song is played like in a park, you can hear it further away, and people will be like, "What song is that?" You know. So they use the brightest instruments. Bad Bunny again. If you're ever interested in why Bad Bunny is so famous, this is little audio tricks he does, because at the end of the day, he's a musician, and he's smart. You know, there's a reason he is where he is. As far as I know, I don't know if he has family in the business, but he makes his music so bright. Even though he has a deep voice, he realizes that, and he makes his drum machine bright, makes his all his instruments really bright. You can hear him from a mile away. Um, and yeah, that's Bad Bunny's success. So yeah, he's not just putting on a beat and putting chords and saying random stuff. He's thinking about everything he's doing. Is it the way I would think of things? No, because his goal is to make money and be the biggest star he can be, you know. But I digress. That's Bad Bunny. If you're watching Bad Bunny, you know, call me out. Tell me I'm wrong. Okay, I think that was the only thing with Dream. I muted the fourth tom, so it would have less feedback. I don't think I'm gonna do that with anything else. I was thinking of going through the toms, but it changes the what do you call it? The feed, like, you can hear the feedback being cut off, unfortunately. I thought these mics would work, but maybe we have to rethink how we record toms, especially since they ring. And it's like, we want ring. That's where drum mixing gets all messed up too. It's like, you want the ring in a live performance, but when you're recording audio, you don't want it, so that it can all sound at the same volume, so you can make your song louder. I'm like, well, if the goal was to make the song louder, and people just do that volume thing, like I said before, then isn't it hurting the music? But that's just my opinion. I'm sure people will hear this chanter wherever they are. I'll play it in a field and like everyone will hear it because he's just chanting so magically. Oh, Dream is really weird to master too, so I have to make sure I'm paying attention. So, yeah, all that looks good. I'm gonna double check the bass guitar. Brought up here. I like its crescendo, but when the chanter comes in, some of the energy needs to be bounced back. And I think see, this is how much music schools kind of like mess with my mind. Like here, I didn't get louder, and just those ideas of thought kind of get into my performance. I didn't get louder with them. I just let them get louder, so that I had more control here. The crescendo works with just them because Anthony's hitting so many drums. I don't need this drum crescendoing too. Whereas if we were live, maybe we would do it. So that's kind of the difference there. Because how many instruments? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think the guitar did a crescendo. 7 instruments. If all 7 instruments were to do a crescendo, your song, like, that's how it'll get like really quiet. And that's why classic rock is so quiet. If you ever listen to like stuff from the 70s, like compared to things now, like it's really quiet. Okay, we're gonna save this and then we're gonna render it. So this is Dream Rough Mix. I feel like it's not for, oh, maybe it is, because I did a lot of stuff in post, so it might not have that many soft mixes. So we're gonna see how many times I've done this. And oh, that's folder. Well, yeah, that's where I want to be. I'm guessing it's like 5. If it's wrong, I'll change it. Yeah, see, and I'll show it when I'm doing my Audacity thing. So let me get Audacity up and running. Let me show you it. So Which window captures this? Boom. Okay. And then if I do that, was Audacity not showing up? That's great. All right, that's okay though. I can make it show up. This Audacity. There it is. You have the audacity to use Audacity. This is where I'm at in mastering. As far as like plugins go, I'm still kind of behind where my mixing is. So what you're seeing here is like old techniques I'm planning to change. But you only get so much time. It's another thing musicians need to learn. Like, it's okay to not be perfect. That's something I wish was taught to me. Like, if you want to make your stuff, like, I think I heard of some guitarist. I'm like, why don't you write music? He's like, oh, I'm waiting till I'm perfect. Like, it has to be perfect. Like, you're never gonna reach that, man. I still don't think he's ever created a song. I don't even know if he plays guitar anymore, honestly. Because at what point in your life do you get perfect? And then when you do you lie to yourself? Alright, so this was rough mix. Oh, it was actually 4. So what I'm doing right now is I'm changing the name because it was the 4th one, not the 5th. So Dream Mastering has a file. Does this pop up? Yes. So this is the old rough. This is some post-mastering stuff. So it's a forest public domain sound effect. Just a forest because that's the theme of this album I'm starting to see. So we're just going to take out that old file and put the new one. And then we have to do all the stuff that we did to the old one to the new one. All right. So, I think this is the first time I've captured mastering on the stream. So you all are in for a treat. Thanks for tuning in, because you're going to see how I master currently. That might change, because I'm not using Reaper to master, because I feel like I'm not at that level yet with Reaper. Whereas Audacity, you can do anything, because it's what is it called? Source free. People can like write their own programs for Audacity and just share it. Like, that's how the old internet was, man. Honestly, like, old internet, people would make a program, people would make plugins for that program. As a community, the program would get better. It was beautiful. Now everything is like pay a monthly fee. You can't write programs for us because we want to own this completely. But Audacity and MuseScore, they're still like the old internet. I think MuseScore has like a subscription for like downloading and learning music, but as for like the making music, it's completely pure. Actually, it's not completely pure because it basically sells copyrighted music. Allegedly, yeah. Anyway, this is what I'm going to use. So I'm going to explain what I'm doing, because part of the problem with my mastering currently is I kind of don't know exactly what I'm doing, and I'd like that to change. But as of now, it's what it is. So we have to do a fade in. Oh, it already does the fade in, so that's good. So this is what the sound file of Dream looks like. This bottom track here. So as you can see where the song gets louder. And then here, this is the part that kind of makes or breaks the master. Thankfully, I think I already cleared all of it. But that's the quietest part of the song. That's where it's just piano and vocals and nighttime effects, which is why I added it in post, because I don't want the mastering to do anything to these crickets. So many sound effects going on here. It's well recorded audio, but there's crickets, all these different things that the mastering could bring out. So I add the sound effects to the entire song. That's why it's there. I didn't used to do that, but I had that idea and I'm applying it now. And this is where the song should end. Something else I'm doing in the mastering is fading out the whole song. Because if I do it in the mixing, stuff can come up. So I want to do it here. And there's two things I have to do. I have to do it after I mastered it, but I have to fade out and I have to add a little bit of reverb, because the idea is you're walking away from the Phoenix tribe. This is the Phoenix tribe playing here. So let's get into it. So something I use, I call it NES. NESW, really. I think of NES because it's like the video game. But I normalize it. I make some settings. I have certain settings saved. For Dreamcrack, I had to kind of change some of what I'm doing already. So so I normalized it just now, just the way I want it. Now I'm EQing it. So I'm taking out some of the lows, bringing up some of the mids. That changes from song to song. The reason I'm taking out some of the lows on the full mix is because with the bass, with the drums have a lot of bass. The bass, of course, you want to have a lot of bass. The floor tom has a lot of bass. A lot of instruments, my voice has a lot of bass. So just taking away some of it as a whole section, bringing up some of the mids. I don't bring up any of the highs because the highs are the hi-hat. They still get brought up though. But I like, because our hi-hat is just so, maybe I'm thinking about changing the hi-hat. Maybe that's the solution. But the hi-hats are so high that you don't want to bring up any of those highs. Also some of the crashes too. So if you bring up the highs, like, those things will just come out. And the tambourine. There's tambourine in the song. If you record a performance with like just a cheap camera and you film it and there's a tambourine player, that tambourine's gonna just eat everything. And it drowns out everything. You wouldn't think a tambourine would be that powerful. The Romans, or tambourines are kind of in every culture, but I think the Roman tambourine is kind of the one that they all agreed, okay, this is the direction tambourine should go. And there's different kinds of tambourine. But that thing is bright. Probably hear it over horns. Makes you think. That's what that instrument was designed to do. It wasn't designed to be in a computer. Anyway, so bring up the mids, bring down the lows. The mids are going to make those... It's kind of confusing. Kind of make the meat of the song louder. So that is the harmony, the guitar. That is, if I'm singing high, it is those particular notes. So you got to watch out for that. The chanter is hitting some of those notes. So this is bringing up him. It's bringing up his volume. I wonder if I can share this. Let me see. Because this is developed over time. Oh, excuse me. I've never tried this, so, this is what you do to try new things. Yes, it works. All right, this is what I'm looking at. It's a window. All these windows pop up, when I'm doing this. But over here at the very left, you can see the lows are down and all that stuff. And you can change that with here. They have some curves. This is unnamed because this is kind of just what we do. This saves every time I do it too. But you can change the shape. I'm not going to even risk that. You can, all these extra stuff you can do that I don't need to do. So I've EQ'd it. Now the track is super quiet. So it's made everything really quiet. And then I do something called SC4, which is probably not going to pop up because, oh, it still popped up. Maybe they all pop up now. That's cool. Okay, I've been trying to figure that out. Okay. I don't know too much about this. This is kind of Chris's notes on it, but I play with this sometimes. I turn this down all the way because it does God knows what to it. but this is the one I really change. And it's been working with this setting, with everything we do. Now, if you're like an audio engineer and you might be like, what? Like, what is this shape? But, you know, that's just what works for what we have and what we do. Alright, so I've applied that. Let me double check I applied it. So yeah, my lighting is like really low because, you know, I've been through a lot this week. I don't want to get a migraine with overlight. And yeah, it's that kind of production. As far as lighting goes. You can see my face with the screen though. So I just did NES, the S of NES. Normalize, equalize, SC4, and then the WI limiter. This is the main thing here. Let me see if you can see it. So this is the main number I change. You can hit play here and it'll play, but I don't trust it because it's different when I finally like export it and all that stuff. But this number, I'm gonna open something else up. So let's see if I can find my notes, mastering notes. So this number I've recorded in another document I have open that you probably can't see, but it has the threshold numbers for every song of chapter 1. Right now they're not set in stone because I'm gonna try to make them louder, but we'll see. So Dream is the quietest song at negative 17.6, and I think I need to record this number. I'll say negative 14.8, negative 14. So I just realized I forgot to input Pocket Master's threshold, but it's just negative 14.8, which is listed there. So Dream, I'm gonna copy and paste that number, or not. Doesn't work now. Negative 17.6. What's up? Why is it not? Oh yeah. So there's an old program that doesn't let you. Can you really not type? Oh, now you can. Okay. Me talking like I know. Negative 17.6 decibels. I'm gonna keep the release there. Not adaptive. Someday I'll play with this more. I'm like, what is that? And thankfully with Chat GPT, like I use it when I just need a quick answer on like how something works. It's been beautiful. Like I feel like it's better than a Google search sometimes, but you have to like just realize like, hey, it could be wrong. So this will make everything super loud. So now what I'm going to do is turn down my volume so it won't destroy my ears. For you all, I'll turn down the desktop audio. So like what you hear will be as loud as what the mixing was. Okay. Unless it's not. Alright, that should be good. I've never mastered doing this. Let me see. Alright. So that's good. Okay. Now I'm going to turn this up a little bit for myself. See, this is still dark the way I like it. Now I need to put in a fade out. So when you fade out, at least in my opinion, when you fade out a song, you want to do it, or at least I do it to the master, like after I've mastered it. Because all those little things I was doing, if you have a good recording of a, or I don't know, if you fade out every instrument, like it'll try to bring it out when it's being faded out. it to trail off here and start fading out here. Where is the fade out? Yeah, everything's like in like 1. So we're gonna cut everything after that because we don't want it. Cool. Even though like we stop there, I still want it to sound like the tribe is continuing playing whatever. All right, I need to see if this is, if I started correctly. So this could be tricky because I faded this in on the mixing. So it's like I said, it's a new idea, but like fading out in the master, like that's something new I'm doing, even though it might seem like rudimentary. Like I'm a continue learning person. It works in fading. Are you always not strained though, especially since Audacity is all white? Yeah, I hate that about Audacity. It's darker on my screen because I have nightlight. I have migraines, so all my settings on my PC is like, it's like kind of like dim. I think it should be, but Audacity looks gray to me, so it's not so bad. And plus, it's like the nighttime, so it's usually during the day where that really gets me. Nighttime, I guess my eyes are just used to it because that's when I do all this stuff. Then we're good. Okay, let me see if we start correctly. Ooh. And we do. We start correctly, so now I'm gonna export it and I'm gonna listen to it just on my PC just to make sure those problems are fixed. This is where it gets annoying and tedious because sometimes they cannot be fixed and you have to bring it quieter in the mix, or it's not working out and you have to bring it up a little bit. It's not the way I want it or whatever. Export, we want wave. So this is, oh yeah, we will be doing this song. I think is important to have pretty much done. This is the 9th master I've done of this song. 9. The song is challenging, I will say. It has so many instruments in it. A lot of instruments we've like never used before. And the ones that we have used, it's like way more prevalent. Alright, so I'm gonna just open up the file. And you know, it's audio file, so you don't really need to look at anything. Roughs and masters. Lately, I've really just been organizing myself, which is good. Alright, so I have it pulled up now. afraid. Take my hand. Unite and understand. Oh, I realized something. I forgot to put the reverb at the end. But I kind of like it. See, happy accident, because now I'm starting to think I kind of like it without the reverb. So I'm going to make a version of it with the reverb. That way I can listen to it, see which one I like better. So, let's see. So it starts when like the marimba starts going bop 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 bop. That's him making fun of you. So like as you're being zoomed out, he's like, "Where you going?" Basically. So he's playing to reflect that. But it might not need a reverb. We'll see. This should be the same settings. Okay, I kind of like the reverb, but I'm going to make both. It's like, I don't know. I know sometimes it's don't get too complicated, but sometimes, I don't know, get too complicated. Get too... When people say, oh, that's too much, do it. Like, sometimes that's the answer. Sometimes not. But what's the consequence to that, you know? Not much. So I'm gonna listen. Why did I call it 11? That's 10. Dream mastering 10. Let's see what we got. Oops. Dream master 10. You want to be as organized as possible. Alright, so I'm gonna put them back to back. I'm gonna listen to them. I'm gonna listen to it from the middle because I think we fixed the bass and cymbal problem. Like that's what I heard was good. Now I'm gonna check this part. To unite and rebel, so don't be afraid. Take my hand. Unite and understand. All right. I like the reverb. All right, let me see what it is without the reverb. So I think reverb might make it. There's two ways. There's two things I'm thinking about right now with this reverb. One, does it make it sound like you're in a building? Because that's not what I'm going for. I'm going for you're in a forest. But the original intention for the reverb is to make it like you're spiritually walking away from this tribe. So I think it accomplishes that too. Plus, like when you hear a fade out, you normally don't hear a reverb go along with it. So that's one of my, that's like pros and cons, I guess. So I'm gonna listen to it without the reverb and see what I think.
From the dream to unite and rebuild. So don't be afraid. Take my hand. Unite and understand.
So I think I'm gonna go with the reverb because I feel like my ear wanted the reverb there. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna go with the reverb. I'm gonna send it to Chris and Anthony. So that's the next step. After mastering, I send it to them, and then they tell me if they hear anything. Chris usually is fine with whatever I do. Anthony's always like, bring this up a little bit, just a tiny bit, right here in this specific spot. Like, okay. Whether it's a certain tom or just another one of our instruments. Anthony went to, I think he took some courses in audio, so we all know our stuff. Chris does this stuff too. He does his own stuff with the Trance of Insanity. Like, that's all his audio. We all kind of work together, you know. Chris goes really experimental though. So if you listen to Trance of Insanity, like, you'll hear some really crazy mixing ideas. And then if he finds some that turn out cool, he'll tell me them and we'll use them as well. That whole mastering bit was kind of like started with Chris telling me, hey, do it this way. And, you know, I kind of put in my own numbers and own settings to fit Phoenix Splash. But he's the one that really discovered most of that I just did. Teamwork makes the dream work. That's what I always say. So that's good. So I just saved it. Usually I don't make mastering files because either way I have to do it all again if it's unmastered. But since this one had some settings, I went ahead and did that. But yeah, reverb wins. Pretty cool. So that's Dream. There's 2 more songs I have to do, so I'm gonna do them. So I'll have to do that. There you go. Okay. All right. So Dream is good for now, and we'll just save that. We're gonna do Hatman next. Hatman is. There's two things I have to worry about. So you might be wondering if you can even see it. I have a track called El Dinero. I don't know why it has that name, but what it basically does is make the snare more snary. And that's the whole thing. I'm not even sure is gonna work. But actually, it is kind of working. But it's pretty quiet. So interesting track. Oh, this is Explosion. There's not much I have to do with Explosion, so I guess I'll do that first. I guess that's why I picked it. There's just one of these I have to take out. It's right before the first boom boom. Actually there is quite a few things I have to listen for. Let me do that first. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna listen to Exploder just to see what. I know it was the one that needed like the least work, or like whatever I have to do won't be too hard. It's gonna be Master 3. Let me rename. I have one renamed wrong, or named one wrong, because the song changed names. Gotta keep it up to date.
There's a shadow deep in red who walks a slippery slope. He watches all the nightmares every day. But when nothing excites him, or when the dream's the same, he remembers why he's banished and his name.
What note is that? On 4 of the on 4 of the scale roll. That's what I'll call that, scale roll. Music theory helps when you're identifying where everything is. Of course, you can put markers. I found out how to do that, but it's too late in the stage of the project to do that too. Otherwise, everything will be out of sync. But maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe that's something I should do. But for now, that's how I'm describing it. Alright, so I just made, that was a very specific note I had to make. So I'm going to keep listening.
Vanished to red, there was the Hatman who saw the dream dust from afar. He followed it and saw Exploder. The two were best friends from the start. I control the dreams and you explode the dreams. We can have some.
I need to hear this part with earphones. So, mastering, I use a lot of stuff. I use the speakers first, so you didn't really see that stage. Then I use these, like, headphones. But sometimes, like, the earphones, I'll make decisions, like, that I wouldn't on speakers. And then I repeat the process over and over. No. So you see me, like, always. I have two headphones. Why does he have two? And the earphone. I have to make sure they're correctly panned. Because I brought these with me on the trip so I could keep listening to these songs. But yeah, that's the cool thing about earphones too. Like really good ones. You can mix and master while you exercise, or not really want to make too many decisions based on that. But sometimes something glaring will be in the earphones. Okay. Because I remember listening on these, I felt the piano was too loud, but on these, I felt it wasn't. So we'll see who's right.
Vanished to red, there was the Hatman who saw the dream dust from afar. Followed it and saw Exploder. The two were best friends from the start. I control the dreams and you explode the dreams. We can have some fun for ourselves. The dreamers don't remember when I explode the dreams. We can have as much fun as we like. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Okay. So, yeah, it's interesting. So, I need to make the female backup vocal. Make her quieter when she says 2 and 1. She did a little crescendo. As we all do when we count down. Count 10, 9, 8. We get slightly louder. Unless you're a teacher, then you go quieter because you're trying to quiet everyone down. But if you're like casting a rocket, yeah, you're gonna make 2 and 1 really loud because it's like you better pay attention. So yeah, that's that. Okay. The piano is too loud, but not everywhere. It's only on the second countdown. Which I think I made the piano that way, but now I'm changing my mind. On the second countdown, piano is too loud, but everywhere else is fine. That's one of the things, you know. You can get your volume as perfect in a rehearsal, you still do all this. Like, that's why I guess we don't rehearse as much. Like when we're recording music, like when we're getting ready to play a live show, then yeah, we rehearse. But when you're just recording the stuff, you don't, or at least we've gotten to the point where we don't really have to rehearse that much. We just learn the parts, record them, because no matter what we do mixing wise in our playing, it's always a puzzle. All right, let me read my notes. Hang on a second. Okay, so we're gonna keep listening.
Combining powers, they shape nightmares to their own desires. You was unstoppable, the one who manipulates the dream.
Okay. I think that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I have to do. It is kind of tough though, so might take a while. It's okay. It's okay to take a while. It's okay. You know, pace yourself. That's another thing that can seem like insurmountable about making music in this day and age. If you want to do it this way, like, man, there's a lot. Just take it one day at a time. It's okay. Okay, so first thing on the list is some of the reverb on the vocals. So what reverb does to my voice, sometimes it makes it a little bit brighter. So there's two things we can do. On this song, it's not as bad. On Hatman, it's like I really have to. I'm thinking about just removing it altogether. But I think for Exploder, I just have to bring it down a little bit. Just bring down the effect on it. Yeah. Is this it? What does this do? Oh. Oh, okay. That makes it wet. So, yeah, okay. So we got the snare. Let me just close the drum set because it's throwing me off. Tewa was fine. Heard him throughout. Sophia was fine. Ninja was okay. Marimba was not. So let me do that. Look at the marimba. It's all crazy. So it probably has something. It's one of these crescendos, more than likely. I almost played the master. Let me close that. That would have like destroyed my ears. So I need to count again because that threw me off. So it starts here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's that one. It does not look like anything here. Let me make these bigger. Like, why is it like that? Marimba, not the funnest instrument to record. Actually, probably the least fun. So there's two ways I could go about this. I think it's probably going to be here, but I could just bring the whole marimba down. So to make it less complicated, I just bring the whole thing, because these are kind of mixed in its own way. Like just the marimba itself, it's mixed to the way I want it to. So if the whole marimba needs to come down, or if I need to quiet it any other time in the mix, I just bring it down here. Normally in the old days, I would, like, what do you call it? export all of these into one track, but I don't do that anymore in case I need to change the original mix of the marimba or the complicated instrument. Any instrument where you use more than one mic, like that's what you want to do. Let me make sure I get this roll right. It's on 4. One, 2, 3, 4. So here. Or not. Oh, there it is. Okay. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so we're gonna bring it down. Probably bring it back up here. And I just got too loud on my dynamics. That's what it was. So we don't want to make it too subtle. That's how you get around that. So. Yeah, beautiful playing by Thabo. Alright, so that's one problem taken care of. Make like a little checklist for yourself when you're mastering, I guess. Let me see if I can show you the checklist, since this is educational. Let me add another window. Capture. So this is like the checklist I made for mastering this. And we just... So we did... What did we do? We did the marimba, so I'm just going to check that off. Normally I would write this down on notebook, but I can't find a pencil. This is the next best thing, since this won't be too bad. So I need to make Raylene quieter on 2 and 1 on both countdowns. So that's gonna be the next thing. So she is in the backup vocals folder. Oh, let me close out of oh, it doesn't like mercy. All right, there. Checklist is down here now. I'll let y'all see like that much. So that's what I'm doing. And so, oh, what's this? Oh, okay. I was like, what's going on with these backup vocals? Are they not in the folder? I must have moved them all up here. Yeah, I did. So why is there even a backup vocals? Okay, that's okay. Little, we all make mistakes though. We all do. So here she is, hidden in a folder. So she should have a countdown. Where is she? Oh, I forgot. Countdown is a whole other track. Okay, because there's all these effects. She did some backup vocals too, but the countdown is what I need to edit. Ah, look, I make it crescendo, so let me not do that. Obviously I made it crescendo too loud. So I put a crescendo. Three was fine. 3 was okay. It was 2 and 1. I think what I needed to do was just bring up 3, but I got lazy or something here. Or no, I shouldn't say I got lazy. I thought this would be okay, but it wasn't. I'm like, well, I'm going to bring 3 louder. It's kind of cool if 2 and 1 are loud too, but she said 2 pretty loud, so. And then 1, because she naturally crescendoed as well, so that's why, like, you can't really see it, but it's the technique of it. So something like that can get annoying to master because you want to find that sweet spot. But yes, you also have to like. So why is too loud over here? It all came down. Ah, okay. That's why. Two, 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 two. She's like the chanter now. Just bring this down a little bit. I feel like the mastering kind of brings out her voice too, because she's talking in the alto range, kind of, which could be picked up depending on the voice as a mid. Okay. So that is why that is like that. So I made that happen, so I'll just check that off the list. And the next part. So the next thing I'm going to do is make these clicks. The clicks refer to, oh, now it's not popping up on here. Okay. Clicks refer to the drum clicks, and the snare drum. But I think that's going to be an Elden Arrow thing, so we'll look at that. But that's the next goal for us here. Oh, you can't scroll down. Okay, well, we'll do it pretty quickly anyway. So there's also an extra click on him, so I have to fix that. And it's in the drum set. Elden Arrow's right here. I'll get into detail on what I did here in a future stream, but this is very tricky. So you can see it's an editing mess, so you kind of see what's happening. But it's basically to bring out the snare of the snare. These look like the clicks, so. Okay, so they sound okay, but I know the mastering must bring them out. So I'm gonna bring a volume toggle, and we're just gonna make those clicks. So this is like the second most complicated thing I have to do today, as far as this goes. So I'm gonna make Elden Arrow a little bigger. Elden Arrow is completely experimental, but basically he brings out the snare and he does it well. It's worked, so it's cool. But I was debating whether or not he even needs to be here. Ah, he definitely needs to be here. Okay. Just needs to be not as loud. And I think there's an extra one too I have to get rid of. Yeah. Maybe not. Let's see. Why is snare? What is this? Is this even the snare drum? It's weird. Why the rim does not sound like it's on this? I know he hit the snare rim though. What else would he hit? I captured the bass drum more than it did the rim. It's weird. I don't know why that mic did that. Unless this is a bass take. Sometimes that happens. Let's see. Okay, good. Just double checking. Always want to double check with that. Okay. So dealt with that. When does the rim start? Here? Nope. Starts here. Yeah. Go put a marker there. No, you're not gonna let me. Okay. Starts here actually. I'm gonna put the cruiser there so that I don't lose my spot. And make sure everyone can see it. Sometimes I get so lost I forget like what you all see and what I don't. Okay. So I need to know when the snare comes back. Oh, here, definitely. So I want to bring this down. We want it, but we don't need it, I guess. That's why. But you put in that extra effort, you know? Like, you're competing against a robot, really. You're competing against the perfect machine. So I always say, like, if you pay close attention what happens with music, it's like a foreshadowing on what's about to happen with the world. For those watching, I'm gonna break your mind, okay? Not break your mind, but I'm gonna give you an interesting perspective. Like I said, if you pay attention to music, like not just like who's charting and everything, just like what's happening in music, it foreshadows what's happening with the world. And what I mean by that is everything's becoming programmable. Now there's AI music. Everything was programmable at first. Like you record a snare hit and then you use that snare hit for every song. Like that's called sampling. Lots of music does that. Lots of musicians, even in metal, wherever you don't think it is, it's there. You know, like in baby metal, I've heard it feels like I'm listening to a sample sometimes, but the sample has become the norm. And sampling, obviously, you don't have to record anything. Sometimes movie soundtracks are recorded with samples too, some of them, but you don't have to record anything. And now AI is grasping onto that because AI can make a song without recording a thing, you know, and even take a voice like Frank Sinatra now, and it could just put him in a song. And I'm like, there it is. That's gonna start happening in movies. It's gonna spread. AI is gonna take over, you know. In a way, I don't think people can predict, but it's already been able to do music. And if you argue that the greats are the best, imagine Frank Sinatra singing Dumb by Nirvana. You know, you can make that happen. So it's crazy. So that's your prophecy for today. Pay attention to music, because whatever happens in that, it's kind of the future. I guess with all art, in a way, because it could do the paintings too. And I'm sure someone deep in the helms of painting can tell you how it does that. But with music, it's super accurate. It's creepy. Like, I heard SpongeBob singing Creep by Radiohead. And the reason AI can do it is because we've dumbed down music enough to where AI can do it. What you're listening to right now, it's like I say it and then AI is able to do it. But AI should have a harder time doing music like this. So I'm still trying to hold on to the human, to the human behind the instruments, while at the same time competing. There's no way to tell if that's too quiet or too loud, but until I master it, there's no way to tell. So we did that. I might make it still quieter. Let me turn up my volume. That might help. So now we're in the mix, so it should be quieter on your end. I could bring you up here. I wonder if that brings it up for me too, though.
Vanished
That should be good. Okay. Should be good. Will? Piano's too loud on the second countdown. Alright. Which makes sense, because I think the piano's doing something crazy there. Oh, I think it gets louder, so I might need to just change that.
Combining power, they shape nightmares to their own desires. It was
That's not where it is. So, yeah, it looks like it went up. Alright. I need to hear it again. Alright.
We can have as much fun as we like. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Oh yeah, someone's off here. Let me see who it is. Let me hear it. Is it Buon? No. So now you're taking your list of suspects. Who's off? And lately I've been like not editing like when we're slightly off, because if we did that live, you know, it's not gonna be perfect every time. Although sometimes it is when we do live. I'm trying to just wonder who it is. Are you rushing or are you dragging? From Whiplash. See, that's music school. That's music school. And if I were to zoom in on all those performances as close as I can get, I'd be like, that guy's off. But why, man? Where do you draw the line? I think it is Buon. She's always late. See, that one's perfect, so Buon's late here. Thabo, Marimbo's off here. I can make Marimbo on if I want to. I think he might be slightly above, like Buon is fine here. She's just slightly late, but and then everyone's perfect. So I kind of want to show that, you know. Kind of want to show the difference between an altogether and a not. Why don't you make all of them perfect? Well, in a performance, when you have parts like that, that's just sometimes what happens. For the most part, like if you heard this in a performance, you wouldn't analyze it like this at all. Who am I looking for, a marimba? Looking for a marimba. Yeah, if you heard this in a performance, you wouldn't analyze it like that. But since it's a recording, you do. And then that's where you get like, that's where you get into the field of over perfecting it. But with its perfection, each boom boom, even though it's the same note, same rhythm, you know, same thing, with if you keep in the slight imperfections, then it makes each one different. And it's like, well, they told me to be perfect. When you're having fun, are you perfect? And the answer is no. When you're not having fun is when you're perfect. When you're focused on being perfect, you're not having fun. With that said, I'll move in this marimba player a little bit. But yeah, still have some standard. But oh, now is he great? He's still early. Oh, he was really early. Almost. Almost. There we go. Now he's good. So we fixed him there. Buon looks like I guess because her instrument rings, so she kind of has to be early. Yeah. Interesting. That's how like slow pads work. Like you kind of have to be ahead of the beat to get it, or at least the way I want it to sound. I've heard some recordings where the slow pad is on beat, and you know, I guess some people like it like that. But I like the big ring to be like on the attack. Cause A is like starting up a motor. Okay. So we fixed the piano. We fixed the marimba, even though that wasn't on our to-do list. Our last thing is these main vocals. These main vocals are tricky because the chorus, I'm not singing high, I'm singing low. So what happens, since we're taking down those lows, those notes, this is why vocals is so annoying, you know? This is why, like, all the other instruments sampling, but then they record the vocalist. That's what they work on a lot, is how to get the best out of that vocalist, how to get the best. They already have the mix set for them already. Like, it's like pre-made, you know, in a way. So with me, I'm a bass, but I do hit some higher notes here or there, as a singer does. But in this song, I pretty much stay in my range, which messes up the mastering a little bit. Mastering is going to cut me down pretty much the whole way. So there's one thing I could do. So I already brought the reverb down. And I think it's just the verse, or no, it's just the choruses. I think the verse is fine, actually. But yeah, it's when, like, everyone else's voice is being taken care of, but not the main. I think this is the main one.
Boom, boom.
Oh. Oh. Why is this a folder track? It shouldn't be. There we go. I'm like, oh, someone's with me.
Boom, boom.
There we go. In the old version of Exploder, it was like a harsher tone. Boom, boom. Like, the mastering would have loved that. But this one's more subtle, softer, and deeper. Darker. Mastering is trying to quiet that down because of the drums. The amount of bass in the drums. And I thought of solutions for that, like tuning the drums higher. But they sound not good when they're like that. So, yeah. Stuff like that, like it goes all the way down. This is brought up the highest it can be. Plan B, normalize it, right? Let me save it before I normalize it, because sometimes I do another command on accident. Okay. That should help. I didn't want to do that, but now I have to bring these down. So we reach the top, and when it reaches the top, like, Raylene is louder than me. And I'm supposed to be the main one. But I don't want to be like where you can't hear them, so. There we go. Okay. I love leaving Chris's mistake in here because it's like they're all having fun, you know? I think that's kind of the energy I want. But yeah, if you're going to audio engineer school, they're like, take that out. It's not perfect. But yeah, if you're ever jamming with people, like, yeah, it's not perfect. It's Chris, where is he? There he is. What is he doing here?
Boom, boom. Boom, boom.
Oh, he does like a fade in.
Boom, boom. Boom, boom.
And he's doubling my notes. Boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
Okay. And yeah, he's not saying them the same way I am. That's okay, it's okay. I also thought one of my backup vocals was too loud here. Yeah, I think it's this one. Yeah, I want it to be not heard, obviously. I want it to be felt. And this part might sound like crud.
He walks with his chin out to his lightning storm.
But I'm singing it a particular way so it doesn't get like caught in anything. But it still sounds like I'm enunciating too much. So I'm just gonna bring that quieter, and that's probably why I have to bring it quieter, because I'm enunciating too much. Like, I shouldn't enunciate as much as that in a backing vocal thing. So here we want to bring this down a little bit. As you can see, this last part I need to bring down. See, it's not like everything. So I say, like, audio skills and engineering, they really like it when everything is one volume. But sometimes, like, when you do that, you're sacrificing the sound of technique, I think. My opinion, you know, my opinion. We all have opinions. But yeah, so we brought down the backup vocal. I think this is a good stopping point for us. So we brought up the main vocal. We need to bring up the main vocal more, so we're not done yet. But I think that's where I'm going to stop. You want to do as much things as you can, but then, like, you get into the thick of it, and you're like, oh, I didn't know this would take that long to do. That's also what happens. So here's
every day when nothing excites him, or when the dream's the same. He remembers why he's banished and his name.
So he's fine there.
Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Through the debris, he walks with his chin out to his lightning storm.
I have something misnamed. So I have this called main vocal, so it's actually going to be called main boom. Because it's not singing the chorus. Whereas this one is, so this one should be the main vocal, right? What is this?
Boom, boom. Boom, boom.
Then what is this one? Why did I name it main vocal?
Boom, boom.
Oh, it's a double. Okay. I guess here, I kind of see why I did that, but yeah, okay, I see why I did that. I want this louder.
Through the debris he walks with his chin out to his lightning storm. Call him the exploder, he who shatters dreams.
So I think I want just this part a little bit louder.
Call him the exploder, he who shatters dreams. Hey, 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 hey. Call him the exploder, he who shatters dreams. Hey, 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 hey,
This last hey, we all need to be louder there. At least on the last hey, I don't know why these hey heys are so quiet. Oh, I guess because everything else is doing a crescendo except for us. Did I not turn this back up? Okay, I did. Alright. Yeah, everything's louder there, so... Why is his vocal envelope not here? There it is. He needs to be louder here, just here. Everywhere else he's fine. Hey, yeah. Anthony sounds the most Native American out of us. He does. That's interesting when you get into like. There's a lot of Native American inspiration in this album, but like me and Chris, we come from like the northern. Like it's fun, especially when you're Hispanic, to just like look into what tribe that you came from, because most Hispanics are mestizo, which is a term. It's not a good term actually. It's actually really bad, but some people still use it to describe your rank in Spanish society. You had indigenous and Spanish blood, and we're basically that. But again, it was used as a ranking system, so it's a controversial term to use. But me and Chris were part, like we, going all the way back, our family used to be Dene or Navajo. On my mom's side, she has told me it's Pueblo, and on my dad's it's Navajo. Of course, we have Spanish mixed in as well, but a lot of Hispanics will have the tribes in southern Mexico, which is what Anthony could be, but I don't know, maybe could be what we are too, which would be insane, because what the prophecy is that the Hopis believe is that one of theirs will save the world, and it's like, well, it could be me, you never know. I didn't even plan that, like that's not why Hatman says I'm here to save the world. It just happened to be coincidence, and I'm like, oh, that's terrifying, because sometimes this all feels spiritual. Like, oh, that's scary. Why does that make sense? Yeah. And if like Anthony's Hopi too, then it's extremely like, what? Yeah. Oh, I'm bringing Chris up. Does he harmonize?
Hey, yeah.
On accident, he does. Oh, looks like Anthony's not the only one who does that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he harmonizes.
Yeah.
Cool. So the heyas are louder now. Main vocals should return to normal. What's happening? So, are the verses split up? Because if they are, that's kind of annoying. Oh, this is all the marimba solo. How long does solo go? Where are you? Okay, so here, this track has reverb, so this is the main vocal then. Then what the heck is this up here? It's just called main vocals? Oh, it's just called vocals. Chorus vocals, we'll call it that. It's chorus. And verse vocals is down here. See, you want to not do that. So what I did was, I didn't name. I had a system in place because you want procedures. Sometimes I have a lot of procedures and I can't follow them. I named the verse vocals because they always have to be mixed differently. So that's why there's like confusion, inner confusion. So now we're at the second verse over here. Which is fine. It looks okay. I wanted to make her 10 quieter here because it's kind of like, whoa. Oh, it is quiet here. 10. I recorded these backup vocals. Something got in there. It's probably AC. I could chip it out, but I think it's okay. 9. Alright, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure I did that. Alright, so that's Legend of Exploder. So we did some mastering there. Right there, we just made the main vocal louder. So what I didn't realize was that the main vocals is 2 tracks in this song. For some reason, I thought it was 1 because they sing the same range, but I didn't play it safe. Or I played it safe with making them 2 different tracks. That's because the old part had higher vocal notes, so that's why I did that. And when I re-sang it, it was the chorus vocal. But why I didn't name it that, I'll never know. So that's the backup vocals. I think that's all we had to do with this, yeah. So, next step for this one, render. Is there a way to like... Oh, y'all could see the window. Okay, good. That's good, because I was kind of hoping that was working. So this is Exploder Soft Mix 5. We render it. And now that you can see my window, can you see that one? Oh, you can't see it render. Oh, man. But it's rendering right now. Exploder, I don't know why it takes a long time to render. Okay. Done. Thankfully, like, these next songs aren't like Dream. Like, I don't really have to do anything special to the master as far as like adding in sounds. Like, it's all just in the mix because nothing's fading out or anything. Definitely want to save that, so let me get that Audacity open. He uses Audacity. Still, yeah. I think Reaper's also open source too. Did that not close that window? Uh-oh. That's weird. Let me just... Why? Why is it doing that? Maybe if I open a new window? I'm in the, Dream 2... Exploder. Mixing and mastering. Number 3. Wait, I called it master? What did I call it? It should be soft mix, not master. Soft mix 5. Dude, there it is. Okay. Make sure everything... Oh, this window is still here. It's weird. I don't want to... I thought with Audacity... Okay, I don't know why. We'll keep it small. Who knows? Who knows? But we don't have to see this bottom here, so I'll just leave it here in case this window changes. Let me see if it does. If I do... Oh, so first I have to delete these silences. Again, you can get around that with putting markers, which is what I plan to do with newer songs. So, you know, everything you do, just keep building, you know. That's hard. You know, it's hard to do that, honestly, for me. Starting to realize. Oh, I didn't zoom in. Okay, so we want to get like... around like here. Yeah, this is pretty much it. Boom. Yeah, that's enough time for it to end. So I have two options. I could leave some space, or I think it's cool when it just starts. So like, if you're listening to like another song and it ends abruptly, like this one will just pick off where that one leaves off, no matter what. So if it comes up on a playlist, you're like, whoa, what's happening? If the right mixture occurs, of course. Okay, so I'm not gonna do too much mastering on this one. So what I need to do for you all, since I'm such a caring person, mastering makes everything louder. There's a war on music. It's called the loudness war. So this will not suffice. We make it louder, but we balance trying to preserve its natural sound rather than joining everyone else in that realm. That's what makes our sound different. We're not the only band that does that, though. So we want to do NES. Let me see if this stuff is showing up for y'all. No, it's still just this full window. It's this one. Which window is this? Let's get to the bottom of this, because this needs to be seen. If I am to do this good. If I delete it. Oh, it's 2. Okay, window capture 2. We're getting it. I'm just gonna make it change equalization. Okay. Now we can just delete this one, which is still here somehow. EQ. I like how Audacity is now gone. Okay, that's okay. Man, okay. What just happened? I don't need Reaper anymore, so let me close it, because this is the last thing we're going to do today. What happened to Audacity? That's weird. Audacity's gone. Come back. Okay, don't worry. Everything's gonna be alright. Oh, that's a video capture. Window capture. Let me just make a new one. Streaming this kind of thing is kind of tricky. Can Audacity even be... Okay. I guess because it's a new... It named the folder. So now we want to organize it. There. Everything takes some time. Window capture 2 should be at the top. Capture 5. Alright. What is this? Okay, that's the problem. Boom. Now you see what I see. Okay. So sometimes, yeah, this is new territory. You know, streaming like this. I use the same EQ because it works for our sound. The way we record everything into mics. The way we sound, it's a good starting point. Usually when I change something, I go into the mixing rather than play with it here. So, did I normalize it? Let me normalize it first. Almost missed the first step. Oh, I did normalize it. Okay, so I did that without you all seeing it. EQ. So now everything's small. The lows are brought down. The mids are brought up. The highs are left alone because the way we record, the highs are always loud. So that was EQ. Then we do SC4. I'm going to leave this the way it is because there's no notes on doing anything different. So that's S4, NES, WI limiter, which has popped up. Good. Okay. So we go to our mastering notes, and it tells us exploder is 14.8, negative 14.8. Let me capture that negative. I was copying and it was like 14.8. So the lower the number, the lower the threshold, the louder the song. To my understanding. Why does not let me do that? So sometimes songs are just naturally, like however we mix is naturally louder than others. So this part is, since we're making an album, we want each song to sound the same volume, obviously. So that's what all these tools are for. Right now, these numbers will probably change because right now it's quieter than the goal, but that might just have to be. So we've done it. It doesn't need to really be heard here because at least on my old PC, I'm not sure about this one. Like listening to it in Audacity is not the same as listening to the WAV file it produces. But I haven't really tried that. Like right now, when I did Dream, it sounded pretty close. But like something will be like slightly off. So I want to organize this well. This is going to be the 4th master for Exploder. And there we go. So now it's a file and audio's low. So we'll listen to it and then that'll be like our closer. So I'm going to save, well, I don't really need to. So that's the thing. The only thing I've really done was on this project is do all the mastering and cut off some of the ends. So if I have to do a soft mix again, like I'm going to have to do that again no matter what. So I typically don't even save those projects because I have to do them again every time anyway. So in closing, we'll listen to Exploder, see where it's at. I think it's, well, we don't know how it is, right? We'll see if all the problems are fixed. And then that'll be that. Then it's ready to be sent to a 2nd and 3rd ear. So what I want to do right now, which I'm not doing, is lower my volume. Because now it's pretty loud. Yeah, I'll pick it up a little bit for y'all.
There's a shadow deep in red who walks a slippery slope. He watches all the nightmares every day. But when nothing excites him, or when the dream's the same, he remembers why he's banished and his name. Through the debris he walks with his chin out to his lightning storm. They call him the exploder, he who shatters dreams. Hey, hey. Hey, hey. Hey, yeah.
Marimba's good.
Vanished to red, there was the Hatman who saw the dream dust from afar. He followed
Clicks are good.
and saw Exploder. The two were best friends from the start. I control the dreams and you explode the dreams. We can have some fun for ourselves. The dreamers don't remember when I explode the dreams. We can have as much fun as we like. Combining powers, they shape nightmares to their own desires. Knew he was unstoppable, the one who manipulates the dream.
Alright, so the only thing now, let me put this on the mastering notes. There's one thing I heard, but I think I'm still gonna give it to them because one, if they say it, then that means it's really true, or two, they can't hear it. I want to see if they can hear what I hear. Let me open up my notes. I look very villainy right now with this lighting. But this will be mastering notes here. So I usually keep every mastering notes on one file, but for some reason I did not. So I'm gonna start making that a practice now. So Dream I think sounds fine. So Dream, I have no notes for it yet. I'll probably keep listening to it. Exploder, the only thing now is that the second chorus backup vocal is too loud. It's okay at that volume, but I think it could be just dropped down a little more. And this is Exploder. Yeah. Okay. So Dreams, there's none right now. Until, like, I'm sure Anthony will have something to say about it. If he doesn't, then that's great. But usually he will. Second chorus. Because we all hear differently. You know, that's something they don't tell you with audio engineering. We all hear differently. Yeah, the Hatman misses you too. That's our backup singer in the chat. But yeah, here, that was the only thing. Everything else was fine. We fixed the marimba, we fixed all that. And that's Exploder. I'll probably do Hatman tomorrow. What else? Pocket Master was actually pretty much ready. Ironically, it's the most complicated one. But, like, all of it. And that's something I call the Chris curse. Like, every time he helps me write a song or he writes a song, everything just goes perfectly smooth. But whenever it's like a song that I've brought, it's all these mixing problems, has all this extra stuff. But like whenever it's no matter how complicated, apparently, because Pocket Master is pretty tricky. Yeah, that always happens. It's kind of funny, but I do whatever it takes, man, on any of our songs. So yeah, we don't really need this document, so I'm not gonna save that. Alright, so that's pretty much the stream. I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. Also, I wanted to bring up something, in case, not that I do have any critics, but if anyone like doubts, like, you know, if anyone doubts, because I know Kadali method can be like so, or just like the music culture in this world can be so overwhelming, I guess, if you're a musician. It's overwhelming. And, you know, I think slowly it's going to change. I think it will. With or without me, I think it's heading in that direction. As far as how we like teach music and stuff. How we absorb it as a culture, I don't know if that's changing anytime soon. Especially not reverting back. But I will run against that current, you know, no matter what. Because I'm not going to dilute my art anymore for anything, for anyone, for anything, you know. I'm going to keep my art pure. And now that I'm like I see things a lot clearer now. Like that's my way forward in this life, you know. That's what it is. I'll keep doing these streams. I'll keep just sharing with y'all my thoughts on everything. The process, the release, what I feel music truly is. I'm not gonna tell you to be a drone. I'm not gonna tell you to buy one of those books that says you need to be able to read for choir music in case you play with a choir. If you want to play with a choir, you learn how to play with a choir. Don't make everyone learn how to play with a choir. You know, some people don't see themselves doing that with their musical endeavors, but you know, in this, it's career focus. What can you do as a career? But because music's older than careers. It's older than jobs. It's older than money. That's the truth of it. Anyways, guys, this is Endless Journal here. Be sure to check it out. Dive deep in. Go where no one's gone before, because I think one of the backrooms has 0 views. I'm waiting for that one view. I'm like, I wonder if that's going to be... I'm trying not to click on that video because I just made sure it worked and then left, because I think if you watch for like 1 or 2 seconds on those videos, it'll count. So I get out as soon as I can because I want to see if someone come here to this back room. It's only one way in. So check that out. And, you know, society says humans are like attention spans are going all the way down because of TikTok and all these other social medias. So This is fighting against that. Do you have the attention span to dive in? I want to break what I want to break what social media is doing. Yeah, that's what my art's all about. Not really, but as far as like the depth of it. Anyways, I will see you in the next stream. I'll be here next week. There might be a video next week too, if I make it in time. It'll be another Channel 1 video, just to kind of hold over in between songs. Dream Crack Chapter 1 will be soon, and there will be nothing. There'll be nothing else like it on this platform, in this world. Will it be accepted? Will it cut through? You know? Who knows? But it'll be released in chapters. 3 chapters, I believe. And each one will be a different attempt, you know, until the final chapter where the whole album is released and everything comes to be. But that's the Dream Crack. That's the legend of Hatman, Pocket Master, Exploder, and the world, because you and I are the chosen ones. And you'll find out what that means too, because it means something. But anyways, I hope you all have a great week. Have a great Sunday. And this is Josh from Phoenix Splash, signing off.